worthwhile initiative to pursue. First of all, just a quick introduction. My name is Lauren Campbell. I work for the Centre for Education Technology, Interoperability and Standards, and we are a national UK technology advisory centre providing strategic, technical and pedagogical advice on educational technology and standards, funding bodies, standards agencies, government institutions and commercial partners. So what about Open Scotland? Well, Open Scotland is an initiative that aims to raise awareness of open education and to explore the potential of open education practice and policy to benefit all sectors of Scottish education. It's a joint initiative led by CETIS, the Scottish Qualifications Authority, who works with, Just Advocacy Scotland, who you all know of course, and the Alt Scotland Special Interest Group. Now, what it's about is really about trying to promote the importance of open education and to communicate the potential benefits of open education practice for the Scottish education sector, and also to hopefully try and campaign for the development of open education policy at the government level. Now, there are a lot of interesting initiatives going on in Scotland relevant to open education. I'm not going to run through all of these, these are just a few examples. But there's never actually been any large-scale funding initiatives in Scotland comparable to the UK Open Educational Resources Programme that was funded by HEFCE in England between 2009 and 2012. And although the outputs of the UK OER programmes are open, because all that funding came from HEFCE, Scottish institutions weren't able to bid. So arguably, awareness of open education is perhaps slightly less in some sectors of Scottish education than it might have been. And again, arguably, open education practice is slightly less well embedded than it might be. So one of the things that we wanted to do was to try and pull together some of the really good practice that is going on in the sector and build on the experiences we gained supporting the UK Open Education Resources Programme to try and raise awareness of the importance of open education within the Scottish education sector. To do this, we held what we call the Open Scotland Summit in Edinburgh in June this year. That event brought together senior managers and policymakers and thinkers to explore the development of open education policy and practice specifically for Scotland. We were quite specific in the organisations we targeted. We wanted to get representatives of major Scottish education authorities and agencies and as many of the different institutions as possible. And we were quite successful in doing that. And we also had representation from elsewhere in the UK and from further afield as well, including Just IC in Wales and Nordic Open Education Alliance, who are really quite an interesting group and I think present a very interesting model for Scotland to look at. We also had a keynote from Dr. Kieran Green, who is Director of Global Learning at Data Commons, and Cable's keynote is available on YouTube and under open license, of course, as are all the other presentations from the day. And it was a really inspiring keynote, so I would certainly recommend having a look at that if you have time. We spent most of the day discussing how openness can help to address some of the key strategic priorities and challenges that are facing the education sector in Scotland at the moment. And again, I'm not going to go through all of these, that's just an example of some of the things that we discussed, and I'm sure Joe will have a lot more to say about how we can address these issues and if we do move towards more openness in education, how that could potentially be beneficial. And particularly when it comes to addressing the government's big ticket strategic agendas, so specifically post-16 education, knowledge transfer, curriculum change, and the whole school to college to university articulation question. How could greater access to open educational resources and more open working practices help to address these issues? We also discussed the potential of drafting an open declaration for Scotland. This is partially inspired by the OER Paris Declaration of 2012. And there was general agreement that this would be a good thing. The Paris Declaration is focused very specifically on open educational resources, whereas we have a slightly wider focus and we were looking at all aspects of open education and including the use of open data in education, open source software. We have a much wider field of vision. So there was general agreement this would be a good thing to do. We also identified a series of actions and deliverables from the summit. Now, to be perfectly frank, we've been quite slow in moving these forwards, primarily because this initiative is entirely unfunded and completely voluntary. But there is certainly a good deal of will, I think, in the sector to try and move these objectives forward. So we're plugging away, trying to make sure that we can try and advance on some of these actions and deliverables. For example, establishing a working group similar to the Nordic We Are Alliance. And to some extent, that's actually already starting to coalesce in a very informal way. And we're also, hopefully, going to be able to start working on drafting a position paper which will actually provide evidence of the benefits of open education, specifically targeted to Scottish Government priorities. But these are quite ambitious deliverables, as there's obviously the last one, which is changing government policy. Can't say we're going to manage that, but ultimately that's what we'd like to see. We'd really like to see Scottish Government commitment to open education and also to open access to publicly funded educational resources. In the meantime, we have launched the Open Scotland blog, which is there to disseminate information about all kinds of developments and initiatives that are of relevance to open education in Scotland. So if you're interested, please do keep an eye on that. And also, we're very happy, in fact, we're actually looking for people to come and write guest posts on open education practice or initiatives that we might be involved in. So if you would like to contribute to the Open Scotland blog, then please do get in touch with me, or indeed with Jo or any of the other people involved. And before I pass over to Jo, I'd just like to finish with a quote from Caleb Dean's keynote. During his keynote event in June, he made the point that the opposite of open is not closed, the opposite of open is broken. So with that, I'm going to pass over to Jo.
I'm provisionally folk happy for a minute too, and also I kind of want to taste the temperature of what you actually feel when we're chatting about this. In order for us to have an open world where we share things, you all have to be willing to share things. Are you all willing to share things? I'm looking at you and I'm asking you because there's a few audience. Are you really all willing to share things? Do you think it's a good idea that if your teachers and things are making useful artifacts for their learners, should they be able to share that with other teachers without institutional or local authority or restrictions? Do you all think that's a good idea? Yeah. So let's go on and every time I chat, even at government level, and we've been chatting at government level, there's a fear somewhere in the system. There's a belief somewhere that somebody in the system is going to stand up and say, no, I don't want my teachers to share things with other teachers, or I don't want, and actually the other adjunct is, if we get this right, should be teachers. The learners should be sharing things. The learners should be creating learning content as well. And maybe that's getting a bit too radical, but that's the next logical step. That we're all learners together. Some of the new things that are coming down the line in some parts of the curriculum. And you think about things like, and I'll tell you a story from inside, things like the human genome and sequencing and all these kind of things. And we brought some of that into higher biology a couple of years ago, because that's what's happening in the world. And gosh, biology teachers wanted to be retrained and all kinds of things, all manner of things, all happened. But we were able to point, without having to invest in lots of staff development and all these kind of things, we were actually able just to point down to I think it was the University of Leeds, but there were universities who had open educational resources that took, both for educators, took them through how to introduce this into the classroom, and they also had all the materials that learners would need. And it was all open and free and accessible, and there was video clips and all the bits and pieces that you need, both for classroom delivery being able to understand things. So you can see that working in lots of spaces. We just need to find out what's holding this up. There's lots of examples in lots of sectors. I'll give you another couple. I sometimes get really excited because Scottish Enterprise are doing something interesting in the e-commerce space or in the small business development space and they tell me that these wonderful course materials, they're running these workshops all across Scotland and they're great. And often with my head of new ventures, also kind of a Scottish education hat on, I go and I say to them, look, this sounds absolutely great. And when you finish running all of these workshops, you think you could maybe give them to Scottish Further Education, to Scots colleges or somewhere like that, put them into the open repository so that everybody can get the benefit of that. And then it all goes quiet. And then they say, well, the way we procure them so the actual IP still belongs with the company we bought them from, and we didn't have a Creative Commons license in place, and you think, gosh, so all of that public money has got all these nice level materials, but the public sector can't really get all of the benefit from them. And somebody's got a nice wee earner going round for the next 5 years selling one of these workshops after the public sector funding finishes. And you think we need to go better and faster. So there's a couple of things where this avalanche of knowledge is heading our way, and we want our members to get the most benefit from all of this. So we really do need policy change to allow us to share things. And also to embrace the new. And part of it is all about open educational resources. But it's also about things, and I'm not going to talk about it today, it's also things like open badges and open ways of certificating things. And along with that, it's actually also figuring out, if you spoke to university principals, or also even to some of the senior service just now, and you talk about open, they say things like, the building might not follow me, but they say things like, but Edinburgh University's doing it, massive open online course, Edinburgh University's doing it, and another university in Scotland's doing it, and they've signed up for all these things. And then you say, but massive open online course is open. It's closed, it's synchronous. You have to book a place, you have to do it so in some respects. And if a college in Scotland wants to take the materials and repurpose them, well, it says copyright on this. It's hard to know that some of the materials aren't just as open as they might be. So we need to change mindsets around that, these massive open online courses. But we need to change mindsets too, because I haven't seen anybody on the formal education side of things, it's fine, saying things like, well, look, a massive open online course could be a superb adjunct to the delivery of an HND or an HNC if you booked it in at the right slot, if you looked forward to see what was on for your, it doesn't just have to be computing students, or your computing students and your social science students, or you could get your learners, you could do it with them, you could do a massive online course as an adjunct, even just as an experiment to the course you're delivering in class. And back to my human genome example too, probably for staff development, and again in a fair way, not just saying to staff, yes, there's an online course, use all your rights to do this online course, but actually saying, gosh, we could do the staff development here, there's a massive online course out there, I'm going to give you time as an institution for you to go and do that, and that's a much more effective and efficient delivery mechanism than having you on site and trying some of that stuff. This is all becoming globalised, and it's really good. And there's a real strength in Scottish education, which sometimes I think that all true Scots are all pretty willing to be shy, just like some of our students, about how good we actually are. And you'll get this from the universities, which is good. We talk about our research output, all these kind of things. But that's actually really important. But actually, all down through the system, you've got an enormous amount of really really dedicated teaching staff in Scottish education. And by opening up, you're actually giving them a chance to shine in a much, much more brighter way, not just for themselves, but to shine out for Scottish learning. And I think that's why it's important that we have a policy at government level around open education. We have got a policy around open research. Actually, the universities are encouraged to share their research resources, and the Funding Council was quite happy to have that and instruct universities to either put their research into their own open research repository or use some of the globally existing ones. We haven't quite persuaded them yet, the Funding Council, to tell us to do the same with open learning. I'm glad today nobody stood up and said, I don't believe in this, I don't want this to happen. And I hope you get on board with Open Scotland together. 2 minutes. We have 2 minutes, but I'm really just finishing. And together we can make this happen. Now maybe my last 2 minutes, I'll do that looking out the way stuff. If you have, the other danger in all of this is there's something called cultural imperialism. We've got our own education system, and I think we need to be proud of it and get out there and shine it out of the way. Because if you don't do it, what are the consequences? Well, the consequences are, first of all, the other continents have got open education in a bigger way than you guys do. Some really good resources you would have to look at. The American Community College Open Textbook Initiatives are beginning to churn out lots and lots of really good materials, driven for different reasons, because they're teaching and learning is all driven by a book. So it's pedagogically different. But actually, out of that, lots and lots of really, really useful materials. Do you want everybody that talks about Scottish literature to have an American accent, or do you guys want to talk about it? And that's the bit, that's why you need to get on board. I'll shut up now. Thank you.